Hello everyone, myself Saurabh Maheshwari and I welcome you all to the ongoing lecture series on C programming. In this lecture video, we will see how to allocate memory dynamically while execution of the program. So before that, we have seen that all the variables that have been declared till now, that is with the form of writing like this or even the arrays like this, so these all are part of static memory allocation. Static memory allocation, right? So static memory allocation is the memory which is allocated at the compile time. So this memory is the as much as memory that is asked in the declaration of the variable, the complete memory is allocated at the compile time. So this makes easier for the program to have the already defined variable with it, but there is a very prime disadvantage associated with this static memory allocation. That is, if even if you are not using all the space that you have allocated, the space is kept allocated for the purpose. It means suppose you have initialized or declared an array of 10 elements, and you have used during the program only 2 elements out of them. So the remaining space for the 8 elements which has been statically allocated during the compilation will get wasted in the program. So there is a alternative concept available in the C programming to allocate the memory dynamically with the help of the pointers, so that as much as memory is needed while the execution, that much memory will be allocated. So very minimum memory that is only required, which will be allocated at the during the compile time, but the memory which is allocated at the runtime is called dynamic memory allocation. So the memory will be allocated at the runtime as per the need of the program. So we can have this understanding with the help of the example that is shown in the video. And there are the two methods, two functions available in stdlib. So stdlib.h, that is malloc and calloc. These are the two functions for allocation of the memory. First of all, we will see the use of malloc function to allocate the memory. Although both of these functions can be used alternatively to allocate the memory, but there are some slight difference when the memory is allocated from these two methods. So we will see difference between them in detail in some minutes. Okay. So first of all, these functions are require stdlib.h to get included. Then the memory, to allocate the memory, we require, since it is a memory and allocation of memory simply means a base address would be returned. So that base address, since it is an address, it requires pointer variables to get stored in. Okay, so the allocated memory is always allocated memory is stored in pointer variables, right? Because pointer variables are the only variables which can store the memory addresses. Now here you can see that we have not initialized. This program is about to have storage for various elements of an array. Okay, so we can have, here we are working on integer elements. So our objective is to store integer elements in the array. Now suppose whenever this program runs, the different user may ask for different size of array. But if you have alternatively done this, integer a equals to 20, so this would be a problem for different users. How it would be a problem? If suppose user wants to store only 4 elements, then remaining 16 spaces which have been statically allocated would get wasted. And what will happen if the user wants to store 40 elements? Okay, so there is not enough space available and this space needs to be contiguous also. So that is why the remaining 20 elements would not be stored here. Okay, so whenever the number of elements may vary in the program, so the static memory allocation is not helpful or is not efficient. So what is performed is the dynamic memory allocation. So a number may be taken from the input, from the user as an input. So the user will give the input about the number of elements it requires. So there is no till now there is no static memory allocation has been done. Okay, but as soon as user has given some input, so user has given input, suppose 4. Okay, so 4 is given as input for the number of elements. So it means user only requires this array. Fine. So from this array, we only require a base address. Fine. And all the remaining elements would be in the contiguous memory locations. Fine. So P equals to integer pointer malloc, and this is a declaration for this is the call of a malloc function. Now let us understand this call first. Okay. So malloc requires a parameter, a single parameter of number of bytes that are required, number of bytes that are required for the storage. And malloc is the name of the function, and it returns a void pointer. Returns a void pointer. It means since we know that every address is of particular data type, because the value being stored at the address has a data type, so address always requires a storage in the same pointer variable, same date pointer variable of the same data type. Okay, but malloc returns a void pointer. Now what is void pointer? Void pointer has no data type. It is a pointer variable, or we can say it is a address with no data type, address with no data type. Okay, so no data type. So what is required? A implicit typecasting. Okay, so a typecasting, a typecasting is to be done, explicit typecasting to be done in the to convert this void pointer to any data type, relevant data type. Here we want to store the integer elements, so that is why we have converted it into integer pointer. So the address that would be returned by malloc, it would be converted into a address which is going to store integer elements. Okay, so malloc, what happens when a malloc is used? This memory in the complete memory, a block of memory in the complete memory, this is your complete ram. So a memory block is allocated, and its base address of this memory is returned to the p p, which is the pointer variable. Now this complete memory block is identified with the help of this p variable. Okay, and you can also see that it is a integer convertible, integer converted type of the memory. So this p would denote the base address of the first integer that is going to store. Okay, so if I ask you what is the size of this memory allocated, that would be this size, n into size of int. What is n? N is the number of integers that are required, and how much space those integer will take. One integer take size of int. Size of is a function which returns the size of the parameter. So here size of integer, suppose integer takes 4 bytes here, so n into 4, that would be n into 4, that would be 16 bytes. So 16 bytes of block. So this block would be of 16 bytes. This 16 bytes of block with the base address is this, and its base address is stored in P, and it is of data type integer. The elements that will be stored, the values that will be stored would be of type integer. So every 4 bits would be an integer, every 4 bytes would be an integer. So how this scanf works? Scanf works as %d. is because integer is taken. Now normally we write like this: a I. Okay, now a is the base address and I is the index, and when we access any array with the help of pointer, we write like this: p plus I. P plus I means I is initially 0, so p plus 0 is p, so that is the base address, and base address denotes the first address. Now p plus 1, so p plus 1 would be a contiguous increment. So if suppose value of p, we can see this with the help of example also. So here the input was given 4, and these four numbers, these four integers were given as input. Now these four integers we have tried to print it pointer p plus I and p plus I. That is, these are the memory locations, these are the memory locations, and these are the values at these locations. Okay, so these are the memory, four memory locations, that is starting from 4 to 16. You can count them. These are 4 to 16. These are 16 bytes allocated for the purpose. So these are those 16 bytes. This is the base address, this is the base address, and this base address would have this 5 stored, and when it is incremented by 4, because here in code blocks for C programming, integer takes 4 bytes. So that is, every base address, every address of integer is incremented as 4 bytes. So 4 is incremented at 8, 8 is incremented as 12, and 12 is incremented as 16. So this is how various elements using the malloc are stored. So you have to remember this syntax for storage of any array with the help of dynamic memory allocation. Now we will see the difference between, seeing that example, we will see the difference between malloc and calloc. So let us first see this program. This program has two pointers p and q, and a number of elements that would be stored are scanned with the help of user. So this is the dynamic number. Okay, so how many elements would be required, that will be taken dynamically. Now you can see the two syntaxes. Malloc is same as we done previously. Now calloc, it has two parameters. Calloc takes input two parameters. The first parameter is calloc's parameter. First parameter is number of blocks and each block size. Fine. So it stores all the, malloc takes everything as a single block of memory. Fine. So single unit of memory, bytes allocated are allocated as single unit of memory, and here multiple blocks of unit size of memory is allocated. Here you can see all round 16 bytes of memory is allocated in one shot. Here 4 bytes of 4 bytes, 4 blocks of 4 bytes each is allocated. Okay, so that is the difference between calloc and malloc. So in memory you can see, if we ask malloc, a 16 byte block is is given as output in p, so p is going to point here. But when we call for calloc, so what happens, 4 byte block of 4 blocks of 4 bytes each are initialized, and the pointer is pointing to the base address of the first block. So all the blocks have their individual existence while we allocate in calloc, and in malloc this is only a 16 byte single block of memory. Fine. And other differences that you can see, that calloc has two parameters. So calloc takes two parameters, that is n. N is number of blocks, and second is size of single block. And in malloc the total size is given as input. Fine. So this is the difference in both of the functions. The return type is void pointer, so you have to make typecasting. No, so this is typecasting in the output or target data type. You can also see this is the real example of declaration. So it returns single block of size n into int. Fine, and it gives n blocks of integer size. Okay, so this is like allocating a array contiguously. So this is array contiguously allocated, and this is like allocating a full bunch of memory. Fine. So here you can also see that this is known as memory allocation, and this is known as contiguous memory allocation. Fine. And you can also see that bytes allocated here in malloc have initially garbage values, while bytes allocated through calloc has initially zero values. You can see here with the help of this example, we have allocated some bytes with the help of malloc to p and calloc to q. Now we print these bytes and values at these bytes initially. So you can see that these are the garbage values initially in these memory locations which are allocated to P. Okay, and these are the memory allocations allocated to Q, and you can see all are initially 0, because we have not given anywhere 0, we have only allocated. So this allocation automatically allocates all to the 0, and initialize all memory locations to the 0, while with malloc, so this is with malloc and this is with calloc. Okay, now you can also see there are some contiguous memory locations have been given: 68 plus 472, 72 plus 476, and 76 plus 480. So these are the contiguous memory locations which has been received as p plus I. So I is incremented every time. So if this is p, so this is p plus 1, this is p plus 2, and this is p plus 3. Here it is q plus 0, it is q plus 1, it is q plus 2, and it is q plus 3. So this is how memory addresses are accessed while we allocate the memory dynamically. So pointers are very important to access the dynamic memory allocation. You can also see that how we have scanned with the help of this dynamic memory allocation. So since we allocated the memory to Q, what we have done, we have scanned the value at the Q locations, that is these locations we have scanned, and copied the value at location in Q to the value at location in Q. So these values are copied. These values are copied to corresponding uh, corresponding locations in the P. And after these assignment and taking the values from user, we have again printed the values, and these values are now both same: 5678, 5678, but the memory locations are different because of this is from calloc and this is from malloc. So this is how the difference between, so here this difference is also clear, that is allocates memory as a single block. This is clear. Now should be also clear, automatically initialized to 0, and there are initially garbage values. So these were the garbage values in the while allocating through malloc. Now you can also see it is faster than calloc because it only needs to give a single free block, and there is no initialization, so it is faster. And it is slower than malloc because it gives contiguous memory allocation, so it is also required for initialization. So these extra steps make it a bit slower than malloc. Okay, now here individually byte has existence and only contiguous memory locations are in existence. Here, since it is a 16 byte block, so every byte, that is byte number 1, 2, 3, 4, and to 16 has an existence. But here, since it is has a contiguous memory location, so only existence is of for first 4 byte, second 4 byte, third 4 byte, and fourth 4 byte. So these 4 bytes are in existence. Okay, not individual bytes between these. They have no their individual existence. Okay, so this is what all about dynamic memory allocation and the difference between calloc and malloc. I hope you understand it. Stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you.